Good morning and welcome and happy Master's birthday to everyone. Let's start our satsang today with a prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great Masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahirima Shaya, Swami Sri Yukteswarji, beloved Master, Paramhansa Yogananda Ji, Saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. Beloved Guru Dev, we honor thee on the day of thy birth in this world. Help us to tune ourselves to thy cosmic consciousness, to thy love, to thy bliss. May we become like thee through thy teachings, through thy grace, our efforts and our devotion. Bless our lives today and always. We are thy very own. Receive us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Today we have a special program for Master's birthday, which will go until 9. There'll be some readings, some excerpts from talks by Swamiji about Master, a beautiful slideshow at the end about Master, and a talk, an arati, chanting, meditation. I hope you can stay for the entire time. Welcome again. Happy Master's birthday. We'll start with the chant together. We'll hear a poem now of Masters.
When I Am Only a Dream by Paramhansa Yogananda. I come to tell you all of him and the way to encase him in your bosom, and of the discipline which brings his grace. To those of you who have asked me to guide you to my beloved's silently talking mind, or speak to you through a gentle, significant glance, or whisper to you through my love, or loudly dissuade you when you stray away from him. But when I shall become only a memory or a mental image, or silently speaking voice, when no earthly call will ever reveal my whereabouts in unplumbed space, when no shallow entreaty or stern stentorian command will bring an answer from me, I will smile in your mind when you are right. And when you are wrong, I will weep through my eyes, dimly peering at you in the dark, and weep through your eyes perchance. And I will whisper to you through your conscience. I will reason with you through your reason, and I will love through your love. When you are able no longer to talk to me, read my whispers of eternity. Eternally through that I will talk to you. Unknown, I will walk by your side and guard you with invisible arms. And as soon as you know my beloved and hear his voice in silence, you will know me again more tangibly than you knew me in this earth plane. And yet, when I am only a dream to you, I will come to remind you that you too are not but a dream of my heavenly beloved. And when you know you are a dream, as I know now, we all will be ever awake in him. Om.
Now we'll hear a song of Swamiji's Blessed the Life.
Where his feet have trod.
We'll hear an excerpt from a talk by Swamiji on Master's birthday.
Happy Master's birthday. I was saying to somebody the other day that the difference between disciple in the Indian language, Sanskrit in other words, and the derivatives of Sanskrit, and our word disciple, is that we think of the difference between student and disciple as somebody who is willing to take the discipline of the teacher, somebody who's willing to be molded, all of which is perfectly valid and very much a part of what discipleship of a great master means. But there's one very, very important connotation that is left out, that is more important than the discipline. In India, the difference between student or shishya and chela or disciple means the difference between somebody who is out there taking notes and not really committed and somebody who is your child. Chele means child, and a chela is the son of the guru. And a child, of course, has to be disciplined and taught and molded and all those things, but the main purpose of it all is the sense of being a child of the Guru, a friend of the Guru, a part of his family, the heir to whom he passes on his wealth. And this kind of love that Master brought to the West and into our lives is what makes our contact with him really important. Otherwise, what you get in religion is fanaticism and a certain amount of exclusiveness that, well, you're not able to take this thought, you know, and a very sort of a holier-than-thou attitude. It's all very sweet and very beautiful. I'm reminded of one time at the Lake Shrine where Master had musical programs and the public would come and they would see the beautiful surroundings and listen to the concert under the stars, and it was all very lovely, and then they would go away. And he says, those who are not our own come and they enjoy a while and then they go, but those who are our own, they never leave. And in fact, that's true. Even those who have left outwardly, they've never been able to get Master out of their hearts, because that is something God put there. Edgar Casey, the very famous American seer, saw many people in his lifetime who he said had been with Jesus during the time of Jesus. Some of them, many of them, didn't have any close contact at all. But to all of them, it was perhaps the most decisive experience in all the recent thousands of years of their incarnations in this world. One contact with a master is enough to take you over the shore, over the ocean of delusion to the shores of infinity. And this contact is what Master really came to bring into our lives. Teachings you can get in books. You can't say very much new. You probably can't say anything that's true and say it for the first time. God is love. What more beautiful, what more uplifting, what more liberating thought? And yet, how many people have said it? You certainly can't say it and be original. The great masters bring a teaching. They bring a different emphasis on this way of expression and that way of expression. But what they really bring is a consciousness. And what we really can do as disciples of a great master is to try to be in tune with them in every act of our lives. That's why in our work, in our lives here, the most important thing we can do is not read books on how people have done it, not push our contact with him aside while we try to be practical. We have to be practical too, but the most important thing we can do, and each one of us needs to do it, tune in to Master's presence and guidance, that each one of us has to be a disciple who tries to feel from within himself the guidance of God through the masters, through Master, and through you, because each one must carry, like in a relay race, carry this baton and pass it on to future generations. This is what has made the religious vitality of India so dynamic down through the thousands of years. They don't have an organized church. You might say it's the most disorganized religion in the world. And yet they have this respect for a living expression of the teaching. And they try to tune in with that. And so it keeps coming into life again and again and again, with all the folly, with all the superficiality, with all the errors that creep in. This single truth in the consciousness of those who knew God is brought in again and again into the world. What is the most important thing we can do? Be in tune. Be in tune when things get more difficult. Get more in tune. The greatest thing that Master has to give us is that attunement. His teaching, his organization, Ananda as an expression of his teaching and of his mission, all of these things are very important, yes, but secondary to that attunement. But interestingly enough, you know, it's strange. When I came to Master and he gave me his unconditional love, this was certainly the most important day of my life, the most sacred day of my life. And yet, you know, just as Sri Yukteswar, when you remember Babaji came to him under that banyan tree, and Sri Yukteswar was so excited that he rushed home to get some prasad to bring to him, and when he came, he found him gone. And when he saw Lahiri Mahashaya in Benares at the home of, when he saw Lahiri Mahashaya said, "Didn't you see Babaji?" And he hadn't seen him. And Babaji said, "You must meditate more deeply. You weren't able to see me behind the sunbeams." Babaji's body is not like ours. But interestingly, Sri Yukteswar was a bit hurt. He didn't want to even talk to him. And he said, "Why did you leave me when I went to get you some prasad?" Babaji said, I was fairly extinguished in the ether by your restlessness." Well, that's really how it was with Master when I met him. I was so desirous of being accepted. I just in my mind, I said, you've got to. I just couldn't think of anything else, that he had to accept me. And I know when he touched me, you hear about all these wonderful experiences people have when they meet their guru. Well, he put his arm on his finger on my heart, and it vibrated like that for about 2 minutes, I think. You have to think there was something happening. I thought, God, I don't feel anything. But you know, from that moment I changed. Really, I was a different person. It's strange because, yes, I came to him deeply desirous, deeply just yearning to be accepted. But the other side of me was that I had never wanted a teacher. I had never thought anybody knew anything. I didn't think I knew anything. And I didn't expect to be finding a guru. A week before I met Master, I'd never heard the word guru. I'd never heard the word yoga. I'd never heard the words karma or dharma or all sorts of things that are common currency today. I didn't know any of these things. I read Autobiography of a Yogi. That was my introduction. I took the next bus across the country, and the first words I said to Master were, "I want to be your disciple."
So wonderful to hear these beautiful words of Swamiji, of when he met Master. And all of us have our own story of how Master has drawn us. He's drawn us back into a spiritual family. We're his spiritual children. We're his spiritual heirs. He gives, we can say our parents give us the physical birth, but our guru gives us a spiritual birth into the vastness of spirit, of God, of a land, of a vibration that we know, that's familiar to us. And this world seems familiar, but it's much less familiar than that world where we've come from. The Master has come, yes, to bring teachings, to bring techniques to the whole world, but he's also come to bring us individually, personally, his own children out of delusion. And for each one of us, we come in some different way, but we have to realize it was the Guru's magnetism calling us, calling us, calling us back home. I remember when I came onto the path, and I was deeply, as Swamiji said so beautifully, he was yearning to be accepted as a disciple. I didn't know anything about being a disciple. I just was yearning for a better life, yearning for truth, yearning for real friends, yearning for light in my life. And I was able to learn a meditation technique the very next day after that prayer. I remember just praying all night for help. And the next day I found this book on Transcendental Meditation. And I found someone that very day, that very instant, who was meditating in the park where I was reading that book. It was all Master guiding me. I learned Transcendental Meditation within 1 week. And then that person gave me Autobiography of a Yogi. This is how Master calls us. It's through a friend, through someone we know, through an ad, maybe through social media, through various methods. But we have to realize it's the love of the Guru that's calling us back home. Very soon after that, within a year's time, well, before that, I was going to Master's churches and meditating and studying his writings and his reading his books. And then someone told me about Ananda, and I went to Ananda. Here again, it was Master who was saying, this is where you belong. When I got to Ananda, Swamiji said to me, this is your home. You should think about living here. And this is how the Guru calls us in so many various ways, but it's all because of God's love through the Guru that's calling us out of delusion, out of pain, out of suffering, out of doubt, out of delusions. And we have to answer to that call. And as we do, we realize that this life is a dream. And there's so much joy, there's so much hope, so much upliftment of spirit. And we have to be grateful that we look at how our life is completely different than it would have been. I think of how my life would have been without Master. Think of how your life would have been without God through the Guru taking you away from things that weren't good for you, taking you away from a life that wasn't going anywhere, taking you away from even if it wasn't going, just a plain life of no joy, no love, no real friends. We think of our Guru Bhais, we think of the path, our techniques, the teachings, our gurus who love us, of Master, of Swamiji, and retreat places, centers that we have. And all of this is given by the Guru. It's not by chance. It's not us who, oh, I found this. I know this is for me. Master brought it all for us to say, I'll give you this so that you can find me, and that you can be guided by me, and that you can find God. And so our gratitude to our Guru is endless. And what can we do to honor Master, to thank him, to show our gratitude? I remember Swamiji many times saying, and he did so many things for Master's work. When you think about it, all the books, the writings, all the music, all the lectures, all the communities, meditation groups, centers all around the world. But Swamiji said, none of that matters. It's not important. It's important that it's offered at the feet of the Guru. But he said, what's important to me is that I want to be a good disciple. And for all of us, let us always remember that we want to be good disciples. We don't want to become popular. We don't want to have our places, this is known, or I've written a book, or what does it matter? What's important that we're good disciples? And Swamiji said, I learned long ago that it has nothing to do with what I'm going to get from Master. It has everything to do with what I'm willing to give, what I'm willing to offer of myself. And so what can we give the Guru on this joyful day, joyous day of his birth? Well, for one, we can give right attitudes. Think of today itself, when we go to the altar afterwards, think of what attitude do I want to change in myself? Maybe some habit I want to change. I want to offer that to Master. I want to say, don't want to be that. That's not who I am. I remember someone who had a negative habit and went to Swamiji and discussed it with him. And the first thing he said was, the first thing you should know is that's not who you are. Underneath every delusion that we have, every habit, every wrong attitude is our soul. It's shining there. And so these are outer coverings that have nothing to do with who we are. And so on Master's birthday, think of something that you're going to say, this is not who I am. Even if you can't let go of it right away, aim to let go of it, affirm to let go of it, say it's going to go, because it's not there in your soul. And so wrong attitudes, first thing, give to the Guru something today. Secondly, your meditation, try to go deeper, deepen your spiritual life through meditation. Meditate longer, meditate once a week longer, learn the higher Kriyas. You can go even deeper. Do your Kriya every day. Some people aren't doing that. Do Hong Sa, Om, all the practices. Just say, Master, I offer this on your birthday, that I will go deeper in my sadhana. Get up earlier in the morning or stay up late in the night and meditate. Meditate when we have meditations online. In the Kriya Sangha, go to those meditations, but say to yourself, say to your Guru today, I offer my meditation as devotion. Someone said, gave Swamiji a birthday present once, and the birthday present was, I'm going to meditate more. And Swamiji said, that's the best birthday present that anyone can give me, is that they want to go deeper in God consciousness. And finally, sharing. How can I share? Instead of what more can I get? How can I share? I'm full. There's so much I can give to others. What can I give? Maybe to a neighbor, you give one of Master's books or one of Swamiji's books or a piece of music, or what can I share? Maybe I share, I get in the choir or singing group, or I learn the harmonium so I can share the chanting, or I do like this beautiful reading from Kama. I learn how to read well so I can read Master's poems for different satsangs, or I help in there's so many ways you can serve, but how can I share my Master's, not even so much his words, his books, his vibrations. How can I share Master's vibrations? Even if you don't give anything but a smile to a person on the road, or someone who's serving in your house, they feel loved, or whatever, but how can I share? And even for those who teach, I remember Swamiji said to some of us, it's not enough to give a class. You have to give Master's vibrations, his bliss, to everyone. And so for all of us, let us think now, what attitude can I change? How can I deepen my meditation? How can I share? And these I want to offer at the feet of my Guru on this holy day of his birth in this world, think what Master brought. The light that he brought through his consciousness, through the consciousness that he shared with others, through the teachings that he shared and going throughout America, and then in India, sharing the teachings of how to know God. Think what Master gave, and think what his great disciples gave. And now that baton, as Swamiji said, like in a relay race, it's been passed to us. What can I give? How can I make my Master proud? How can I serve him? How can I serve God? And how, in the doing of that, can I uplift myself so that I too can be free like my Guru? What's in my Guru, that's what's in me. And we all remember that, likely that beautiful image of that disciple who would toss flower petals on the image of his Guru. And one day he went into divine ecstasy and he realized the teachings, the essence was he himself had what his Guru had, the spark of God, the divine soul. And he began to toss those flower petals on his own head. He went into ecstasy. That's the goal of our teachings, of our seva, of our whole life. Let's not get sidetracked into, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want people to know who I am. Oh, I sing well. Oh, I do this. Nothing's important except that we become good disciples of our Guru. And let him share what he wants through each one of us as a ray, as a channel of divine light for his blessings in this world. God bless you all.